What's up, everybody? We're back, episode 11 of the End of the Bench show. Joined here again by Tyler Cassidy. Cass, what's going on, man?
Not a whole lot. Had a little dog fiasco on the way in, but I'm feeling better now. Dog's in a little bit of trouble, but you rally.
It's really nothing different then. Jeter's always in a little bit of trouble at the Cassidy house.
Yeah, no, she decided she did not want to go back from my dad's house. She wanted to go to my dad's house, but did not want to make the return trip home. So
I don't blame her. Jimbo's a great guy. I wouldn't want to leave either.
Little war of words we got into out there. You're embarrassing me in front of my dad. How under control, but we got through it. She's home. She'll probably walk in here at some point when she feels like we're done fighting. But what's up with you, Scott?
Or when she has to go piss.
That's true. I don't feel like we get to ask that enough. What's up with you, bud? How you doing?
I'm good. Had a good weekend.
Oh yeah?
Saturday
Let's talk about it.
Saturday was really nice.
So,
I got a really bad sunburn on my shoulders, so I'm playing through a lot of pain right now.
Disabled us pod.
Yeah, I put the air conditions in because Allie was hot and couldn't sleep the night before. So
not all heroes wear capes.
She politely asked and suggested that it would be a good idea to put the air conditioners in.
As she's known to do.
Yeah, and then last night it was like 50 degrees and you didn't need it, but whatever makes everyone happy.
But you're a big cold sleeper, to be fair. So that's something people don't know about you. You're like a big cold sleeper. You want the air conditioning going in 45, 50 degree weather. So I'm surprised you weren't a big fan of that.
Well, I'm a big fan of the cold.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of putting the machines in the window.
Fair. Fair.
So it's the whole manual labor. I was in the sun all day. Shoulders were destroyed due to the sun. And then I put the airs in. Probably should have done the airs and then the sun.
True.
In retrospect. But, never been that smart of a person. And then other than that, it was probably the best sports weekend we've had since quarantine started.
Yeah, me and you became golf aficionados.
Yeah, we had the TaylorMade golf tournament yesterday. The UFC fight night was Saturday night, so that was good. And then the Last Dance, the finale of the Last Dance was on last night at 9 to 11, which is what we're going to talk about for the most part today. I'm getting pretty good at this. Episode 11, 1 month.
Episode 11 and Scott's master set. All right, I love it.
But yeah, other than that, weekend was good. I read a whole book. That was fun.
Wow.
It was only 60 pages, but
that's okay.
Probably part of the reason why I have sunburn on my shoulders. But
is it a good book at least? What
I couldn't tell you. I don't remember it. I was reading it outside and it was really sunny, so I could barely see and I had my sunglasses on.
So you're not giving a book report on this book. Your memory of this book is slick.
The title was Into the Fire. It was about this corrupt cop who was a serial killer. I think he killed little girls, but I'm not quite sure.
Family reading. Got it.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see the Disney movie.
Yeah, and I don't even know the main character's name because it was nameless. So I'm probably not going to read another book in the series, but
ever again, actually.
Yeah, it was a lot. It was an aggressive Saturday, that's for sure. Definitely.
Yeah, that's more than we've done in months. So you just really overloaded.
Yeah, and then Sunday I watched more golf than I ever have in my life. So
I know we're going to talk about the Last Dance. Let me just say one thing about golf. Golf has leaned into their audience so much. They had the eyes of the world, right? We've never probably watched a golf tournament. Never, we decided to watch this golf tournament. We sat down for 4 hours, right?
Yeah.
They did not once explain what a skin was.
No.
They did not explain what irons they were using, their drivers, their woods. They just said, if you're too stupid to understand it, you're just not going to get what's going on here. I'm sorry, I hate it, but I kind of like that golf was regal enough to be no, fuck that. If you don't know what's going on, that sucks for you. I was all right, well, I guess I'm going to have to Google it.
Yeah, but you also joined late. I do remember somewhat them explaining the whole skins thing in the beginning. It was just confusing because you're like, well, does the most skins win or does the most money win? Because
Yeah.
each like as you got later, the skins counted for more or whatever. And then controversial ending, we think anyway. I don't think Rory McIlroy's shot was closer than Matt Wolf's, but
No, and if you're a
I
CDC
don't even know
person
if
right
Matt
now, you
Wolf is
should
his
be.
name.
I think something Wolf. It doesn't really matter. He's not listening. Well, if you are
You
though,
never know.
call in. Let us know what your name is. Like,
You never know.
just let us know. I'm not mad about it. But
Shoot us a mailbag.
do you think if you're like whoever Ricky and Wolf were playing for, like they were either playing for the nurses of the CDC, do you think they're like they got to be pissed, right? Like you just lost a ton of money.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to think that these golfers, or like organizations that were involved, gave the money
Just
anyway
the
to
Padres.
both. And maybe to the public eye, they're like, "Oh yeah, only the winner gets it." But I would like to think that maybe smarter heads prevailed given the situation, and
'Cause
both
you're a
organizations
villain.
got it.
You are a villain if you lost. Like,
Yeah,
if you lost and just lost a bunch of people, like livelihood, you're a villain. And I'm sorry about it, but you're a villain.
yeah, and I mean, we're definitely like speaking out of school, probably with what
no idea what we're
with
talking
what I'm
about.
about to say, because I think Rory was involved like heavily in putting
Yes.
this on, and then he wins, so it's like,
Conspiracy.
I don't know about
And
that.
Ricky Fowler, meanwhile, played that. Ricky Fowler was on fire and like played the ball in the middle of the ocean. And it's like, oh,
Yeah.
Ricky forgot how to play this hole. It's like, all right. And Wolf didn't get the memo and like made it too close, and then they just like cut away real quick. They're like, all right, it's over.
The best part of the, I guess we'll call it overtime. I'm sure that's not the actual term, but like Ricky Fowler told Matt Wolf, "Hey, I need you to show me something here." It had a great shot,
Yeah.
And then Fowler is like, "All right, well, I suck again."
Yeah, Fowler pretty much put one in the middle of the ocean. But
Fowler,
it was fun. It was fun.
Fowler did not channel his inner Michael Jordan on that.
Is that another set?
Yeah, we're actually So for those of you who don't know, if you were living under a rock these past 5 weeks, The Last Dance was absolutely incredible. A 10-episode docuseries, 2 episodes a night every Sunday from 9 to 11. Basically went through, I mean, it was supposed to cover the final season of the Chicago Bulls with Michael Jordan, but it basically covered everything of that era, which was, I think, much better. Like going into it, I thought they were just going to do the one season, and I'm like, I really don't need to watch 10 hours of Michael Jordan and like the Chicago Bulls team trying to win their 6th title in 8 years. But they went through basically his whole career, which was good, other than when he went to UNC. It was incredible. There's really no other word for me to say. I mean, I know you loved it, Cass, but like, being a Laker fan, you had obviously Kobe. We both had Kobe. Kobe is our Jordan, so to speak. He's the guy of our generation. Do you think like watching this doc, like, I mean, I don't imagine that changes it for you, but like, where's your headspace at now after watching all of this?
So it's tough because when you grow up a Kobe guy, you're taught to hate Jordan because you have to defend Kobe with such tenacity that you can't like Jordan. Like growing up, it was Kobe or Jordan, like who is the best. And like as it got clearer that Jordan had a clearly better career, it became more like you had to dig your feet in for Kobe. So like I always had this animosity towards Kobe. And like I really dove into it, versus Jordan. And I'll say that I didn't really ever get to know who Jordan was. Like I never, when he was, that 6th championship was when we were 5. So like our memories of Jordan are kind of as a wizard, but kind of like as just a legend. And I never understood. But the cool thing was I was able to my whole life watch Kobe. And just like I really dove into it. And I know this is backward because this is not how it went, but Jordan reminded me so much of Kobe. And it's so clear that Kobe became Kobe. Like after watching it, Kobe became Kobe because of Jordan. Like the way that they bullied their teammates, the way that they, played like every minute was like their last minute, the way they just like didn't, like, I don't want to say they disrespected their opponents, but it was just so like when the quote about Clyde Drexler by Jordan, where he's like Drexler came in 2nd MVP and he's like, yeah, don't compare him to me. And that's
Yeah.
just like, that's exactly a coach that Kobe would, or quote that Kobe would have. Jordan, it's tough because Jordan comes away looking great, which is funny that he comes out with the quote beforehand that you're not going to like me after this. And then you also have to remember that like he kind of had some say in what was going on in the
Oh, he had a
documentary.
ton of say.
Like I was looking, and game 2 of the finals, the one against the Sonics where Gary Payton's talking.
Yeah.
He had like 29 points or something, which is a great game. But the way that they talked about it, you would think Jordan dropped a double nickel that game too. And I'm not trying to take away the 29, or it's not amazing, but
Yeah.
it was very slanted. I mean, Jordan comes across as a huge winner, right?
Yeah, he's been a winner his whole
That's
career. And I
yeah.
mean, not that it's that important, but like game 2 against the Sonics, like 29 points back when Jordan was playing is
Yeah.
the equivalent of like maybe like 40 now. I mean,
No,
because
I know.
you were watching. I mean, games were like in the 80s, the 90s at the end of the
Oh yeah.
game. So I mean, it's a significant amount then, especially in the finals.
Yeah.
I mean, I echo a lot of what you're saying. Like, it's always been Jordan or Kobe to me. Obviously, you're going to get a lot of people that say LeBron, and I don't compare LeBron and Jordan like at all.
Because they're not
They're
the
just,
same player.
yeah. I mean, like, I don't really want to. Like, LeBron is probably a better basketball player, but Jordan's a better
Absolutely.
scorer, and I'd
Yeah.
rather live and die with Jordan,
Yeah.
on my team than live and die with LeBron on my team.
Yeah. During their prime, absolutely.
Yeah, but I mean, like they're 1A, 1B, 1C, him, LeBron, and
Yeah.
Kobe in my mind.
It's just the way they played basketball was identical. Like
Yeah,
the fadeaways, the trash talk, like just from like the way they play defense. Like there's that really cool video where like it's Jordan starting a fadeaway and then Kobe finishing the exact same fadeaway, and like there's just the parallels between them. And I know like this isn't just my big takeaway is a Jordan doc is I love Kobe. Like cool, great hot take there. But like it just made me appreciate like how much goes into certain things. But
yeah.
I also saw a hot take out there that I kind of agreed, and I'm kind of want your thoughts on it.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody tweeted like, "Hey," or it was a Sports Illustrated article, like, "Hey, this documentary leads you to believe that Jordan won all these championships because he was an asshole and like a rough teammate. No, Jordan won all these teammates because he's the greatest player of all time. Pippen's a top 30 player of all time, and Rodman's a top 50 player of all time. That's why they won all these championships." And I guess we'll never know because like we'll never know what Jordan was like if he wasn't an asshole all the time. But I thought it was interesting, like he gets all this credit for being a great leader, but he was also an amazing talent. It wasn't like me and you out there like trying to figure out how to win a championship and being assholes. He's the best player in the world also.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see him as like an asshole. Like I know he's probably not like the ideal, teammate that you want to like hang out with. Like,
Yeah.
You could see it in every episode of the doc. Like he really doesn't have any friends on the team. Like he's friends with like the security people.
Yeah.
The random people that you would think he wouldn't appreciate and like be an asshole to, or the people that like he was friends with, which I think says a lot about MJ. Like I walk away from this learning a lot more about MJ the person than I did about MJ the basketball player.
Agreed.
Like me personally, if I played with someone like MJ, I don't know how I would. I don't know if I'd be able to handle it, to be perfectly honest.
I'd jump off a bridge. I'll let you know that.
Like he's super demanding, but the one thing that was always harped on, especially by him, was he didn't ask you to do anything he didn't do, which is
that's true. That was a great quote at the end.
It's the best thing to be a leader. You have to practice what you preach, and he did, and he didn't think he was above anything. I don't know. I mean, I watched it in full. I'm gonna watch it again without a doubt. I'll probably spend a whole day watching it because I wish it was on Netflix like right away and I could just binge it for a whole day.
It's not on Netflix right now?
I don't know if it's gonna be on Netflix eventually. I mean, you could get it on the ESPN app still, which is what I'm gonna do. Put it on the PlayStation and watch it all day. But like He's incredible. That's really all I have to say is it's amazing to, and I mean, we talked about this a lot last night, and we're kind of rambling here, going back and forth, but like
Yeah,
just to watch the style of play, in the previous era, like in the era that Jordan like dominated,
yeah,
is just a fascinating era for me to watch. And I know like you like watching. I know you we both think that the era we're currently in is probably going to be the greatest era of basketball in history when it's all said and done.
yeah,
But Jordan's era was just, I mean, it was something else.
yeah. So not to get you off of Jordan, because like at the end of the day, this was like supposed to be a Bulls documentary as much as a Jordan documentary. Who like was your second favorite character that came out of this? Because I
Steve
have
Kerr.
like he gained a
Steve
lot
Kerr.
of respect for him. I gained a lot of respect for him as a human being.
Yeah, Steve Kerr. I mean, without a doubt, he stole. I mean, he stole the show in episode 9. I texted you
Yeah,
when we were watching.
Steve
I was like,
Kerr.
"Is this a Steve Kerr doc?" You
Yeah,
know, and I don't want to make light of it because they were going through like the story of how
yeah,
he tragically lost his father and how that makes him similar to my, like, I get like theatrically
yeah.
where they were going with it. Um,
I thought it was tough.
but yeah,
Yeah,
no, Steve Kerr. I mean, Paxson. No, not Pax. Yeah, Paxson. Like
Paxton
in the
was
earlier.
great coming out of this.
Yeah, I
I mean,
mean, I I just think that it's great. Like when you think Steve Kerr, like I always thought because I knew like those big shots he hit, so I never knew like they were like these big like rarities for him to hit it.
yeah,
I thought Steve Kerr was like, because he's remembered, I think,
as like the
vaguely as
fourth
like,
guy.
yeah, as like a very key contributor to this team. So you just automatically think like nowadays like, oh, he's probably averaging a pretty good amount of points, getting a lot of shots a game. And obviously he doesn't get no one gets a lot of short shots a game with MJ on the team, but
Yeah,
like he comes away the winner. I mean, he knocked down every big shot he had, which
yeah.
was awesome. And I love the clip in episode 9 when they show MJ like whisper to him like, "Hey, Steve, be ready," and he like jumps up like, "Don't
I'll
worry,
be
Mike.
ready.
Don't worry. I'll be ready. I'll be ready, sir. I promise. I promise. I won't let you down." Like it was fucking amazing. And I
Yeah,
think like those sequences, like even the ones with Paxson, like you always fall into this trap when you think of Mike, that
he's Mike now, huh?
yeah, he's Mike now.
Got
That he would be the one to force those shots, like
it.
regardless, like he's not giving that ball up. But he like said, like, no, I was willingly gonna give this ball up because I knew I was gonna get doubled.
Yeah,
And I think that's like something that kind of sets him apart from Kobe, is that
agreed.
like I think Kobe would have been like, all right, well, I'm gonna take that shot before the
Yep.
double gets me, and it's gonna be a bad shot, and hopefully it goes in, and it
Or
probably
over the
will.
double.
Yeah,
Yeah. No,
and
absolutely.
I think that's what separates the two. I
Agreed.
mean,
I think Jordan, that was how Jordan was early in his career, and then he realized he couldn't win that way. And then
yeah.
he finally said, I'm going to have to trust,
Well, we finally listened to Phil.
Yeah. I mean, I ended up, the Rodman stories are incredible. I mean, him just taking off in the middle of the season is just like the best story ever.
I saw a
With
tweet
Carmelo
today.
Electra.
I saw a tweet today that was like Dennis Rodman was the like the centerpiece of like work life balance. Like when he was off, he was
He was
off.
off.
Like phones like don't bother him. Like, and I was like, damn, I need Dennis Rodman's lifestyle balance in my life for sure.
Like he was just, I mean, some of the stories about like him sneaking around the Bulls facility with Carmen Electra so they could do
She
certain things.
still looks fire, by the
Carmen
way.
Electra doesn't age, by the way. I was like, oh, Carmen Electra. And I was like, I thought that interview was from 96. She's gorgeous still. But I mean, it's like, he's just out there gunslinging in the middle of the Bulls practice facility because he couldn't get to his hotel one day. And it's just Carmen Electra and him are just doing the deed right there. And it's like I mean, I want a reenactment of Jordan and Pippen going to Las Vegas and getting Dennis Rodman. I can just picture him getting him by like the shirt collar and Carmen Electra hiding in the corner and like scared to death. That
I guarantee
image would be amazing.
I guarantee it was not as smooth as they said it was on the documentary. And I can guarantee that Carmen Electra was not like, hiding somewhere. She was probably
No.
ass naked on the bed
Oh,
with,
absolutely. And
with
I
Dennis
want in the
Rodman
movie,
floating around.
I want Dennis Rodman to be played by Jonah Hill. That's the only thing I'm going to be very clear on, because I want them. And Jordan and Pippen play themselves.
So who's playing Carmen Electra then? Or Jonah Hill's gonna?
Carmen Electra. Okay, Jordan could be Denzel. I don't know who I'd want Pippen to be.
I don't think anyone can play Pippen.
Pippen comes at this looking like he's I think he's just a solid human being, but like no personality really. And that's a tough look. And I don't want to say anything mean because like he did have a hard life, but like
yeah,
there was just nothing from Pip like at all.
Pippen, like whenever he talked, it just reminded me like, oh, I definitely would not want to fuck with this guy.
No, he'll definitely kill you. But he was, and I don't want to say self-absorbed because he was so underpaid, but like the quote when he wouldn't go back into that playoff game at the end, and he refused to go back in,
he's
and
a
then
fucking clown.
And then they told him 30 years later, they're like, "Hey, would you do something different?" And he goes, "No." And it's like, dude, like we're giving you an out here. Like just say, "Yeah, I probably should. I was young and dumb. I should have done something different." We're like, "Oh yeah, sure. Yeah. You were the best player on the team, dude." So that was when Jordan wasn't there, and now you're still saying you shouldn't have gone in because you worked. And that wasn't even money related. Like I get holding out, but like it was because the last play wasn't drawn up for him. Like, yeah, I don't know. It was very embarrassing for him.
It's not drawn up at like for a scrub. Like I think that sequence really put Tony Kukoc in a bad light. Like for people who don't know, like Tony Kukoc was a very good basketball player.
Yeah,
I mean,
he's an all-star.
And he hit multiple buzzer beaters that season. Like it wasn't like they were drawing it up for the 12th man on the bench. Like Tony Kukoc, especially when MJ wasn't there, was probably. I mean, they had Horace Grant still, so I mean, I'd say Kukoc was probably
the second best player.
Yeah, second or third best player. Yeah. You could probably debate it.
I mean, it's frustrating because like you look at the Lakers teams out of the dynasty, and like Fisher and Ori have huge shots in that. You even look at that Bull team, Paxson and Kerr have huge shots, and Pippen just thought he was bigger than the team that he should get the play drawn up for him. Like I get being mad. You were the guy all year. You want to prove your worth, but like go back out there and play, dude. Like you're paid to play basketball.
Yeah, and I mean, look, me and you've played basketball. Like, we're not, like, amazing. But, like, you draw plays up at the end of the game and shit, like it could go to hell. Like, it could just break. Like, all those plays that, like, Paxson and Kerr hit, the plays broke because Jordan got doubled or whatever. Like, I think Paxson, one was actually, like, somewhat designed for him. But, like, shit happens. Like
even that Robert Horry one, it gets back tapped out to him and he shoots the 3 to win the game. And it's like, that could, and if Pippen hits the shot, he's the hero. So just like see what happens, dude.
Yeah. I don't know. Who on the Lakers hit that one against the Spurs with like
Fisher?
Yeah.
Fisher,
like you think was Kobe mad, or did Kobe understand like, oh, maybe I don't have a quick enough release to get it off in time?
For damn sure Kobe would have been mad if it didn't go in.
Yeah. Well, yeah. For sure.
I think no, I and not that I don't like Pippen or anything, it just he was the perfect second man too, because like he doesn't have that big personality.
Yeah.
Like he could just kind of do what he wanted, and he was ridiculously talented too. I don't want to, he wasn't.
I mean, he's well warranted his spot on like the top 30 NBA players of all time.
Yeah. And what's funny is they had that whole storyline about him being underpaid, and like when he goes to the Trailblazers, he signed like a max contract. Like a big contract, like $100 million contract or something like crazy like that. And he was like not a great player. It's like, okay, so you're underpaid for most of your career, and then you're overpaid when you were like at the end. So like, but it caught up to you. It's not like Scottie Pippen is sitting on the corner begging for money out here. He's doing all right, guys. You don't have to worry about him anymore.
Yeah, and I mean, you saw that house he was chilling in on this dock, like.
And his wife's famous or something. I don't know.
His house looked like a fucking church. Like He's not starving for money, that's for damn sure. And he's still in the Hall of Fame, still has 6 rings. What more do you need from a basketball career?
Meanwhile, Steve Kerr was doing interviews from Holiday Express.
Yeah, he was. And I wondered during it why he was in like Warriors gear all the time.
Yeah.
And I heard
during the season.
No, yeah, well, yeah, the director was on the Michael K show today, and they asked him about it. Like, did it bother you that like Kerr was in Warriors gear? Like they thought it was like some psychological like reason. And he was like, no, we were in New York. They were finishing a practice, and Steve Kerr just worked out, so he was in his
So
Warriors
he really
shirt.
was at a hotel.
Yeah,
That's fantastic.
and that's why he kind of looks like. I mean, I don't want to bash Steve Kerr. He's a great looking guy, but that's why he kind of looks like really tired and like
Yeah,
during it. And I'm like, all
he
right,
looks old.
this makes
He looks old.
I was like, oh,
Also,
this makes a lot of sense.
Dolores Jordan, Mrs. Jordan, Jordan's mom.
Yeah,
Black don't crack, and I don't mean that. But that she looks like she's so it's gonna be 80 or 85. Like she looks. I don't know. Black don't crack.
yeah, you broke up a little when you were saying that, and I think that's okay. You know, that's fine. My other takeaway from this, which we talked about a little last night, is the out of timeout plays that I was seeing throughout this doc were absolutely atrocious. I mean, like they're like, especially last night is when I noticed like the Bulls won a game because I think it may have been the Jazz attempted a cross court pass from the half court inbound with like Scottie Pippen on the wing, Jordan's on the other wing, the fucking Dennis Rodman still in the fucking game. Like, how do you think that pass is getting? Like, I don't understand. And I mean, that was Jerry Sloan, right? Like, Jerry Sloan's one of the best coaches of all time, and that's the fucking play you're drawing up. Like, that's ridiculous. And then the one play against the Pacers where they basically just threw the ball to Jordan because they had 3 fucking players going to the same spot on a cut. Like what are you doing? So frustrated. I was like,
Coach Cass,
God, dude. So frustrating.
Oh my God. Yeah, I know. Well, I think this always goes back to people just get smarter. And
yeah, I mean,
the worst coach now is the best coach back then.
Yeah, I say it, half jokingly, but like people like need to realize like the coaching is so good now. And it wasn't like terrible, back then. They still, I mean, some of the greatest coaches of all time are before our time, without a doubt. But the coaching now and the defensive scheme now, even though people say, NBA players don't play defense, one of the first pieces we ever wrote on the end of the bench was how defense is terrible because it's way too open, and it just leads to it's not valued. But the defensive schemes are more complicated now than ever, and they're better run now.
Yeah, no, I agree. I didn't end up having that strong opinion, but I know you did. I love the play, the Pacer game where Reggie Miller the play was run at Jordan, shove him, and then get a shot up. It was like, that's like so risky. If you get called for an offensive foul now you're giving the ball to Jordan. Ballsy play. Reggie came out looking good too, by the way.
Reggie, he did come out looking good. I mean, look, he owned it. He owned it. He was like, look, I'm gonna either get this ball or I'm gonna get a foul.
Yep.
You put it on the refs. Like, how many times, when you were playing, your coaches make the ref make a call?
Yep.
You're playing baseball. Make the umpires make a call. And Reggie Miller was smart enough to know crunch time, like, probably not going to call that.
Yeah.
And that shot from Jordan should have went in, too. That was fucking bullshit.
Oh, my God. That reminded me of the Gordon Hayward moment. Because, like, it not just the way it banked and went in and out. It was pretty crazy. The thing that pissed me off, the only thing that pissed me off is Jerry Krause isn't allowed to defend himself.
No.
Jerry Krause died, I think, 10 years or 7 years ago or something like that. There is something to be said about the team he built. Whether or not they like him or not, and I understand he made mistakes, and I'm not trying to sit here and say that Jerry Krause made mistakes, because he made a fucking ton of them. Like, you're a general manager. Think about all the mistakes George Steinbrenner made. As a diehard Yankee fans, we love George Steinbrenner, but he tried to trade Derek Jeter in the middle of the night. He tried to trade Martin Rivera. Like, these guys are going to make mistakes. Krause brought in Pippen, and by the way, the weirdest thing in the world happened during the documentary too. When they did the whole Pippen underpaid thing and made it a Jerry Krause bomb. Nowadays they would be like, "Oh, great job, you got a cost-controlled contract." But back then they're like, "Oh, give this man food money," and it's like, okay, well, he's got like $10 million. Regardless, Jerry Krause isn't around to defend himself. Jordan and Pippen, 2 incredible athletes, these handsome, dark, tall, great, top 1% human beings are making fun of this little guy who's like, I get it. He's chubby and he's nerdy and he's,
Yep.
he's a weird looking dude. Like, you're taking the low hanging fruit here. And to continue to go after Krause, and I get that kind of what makes Jordan great. He never let things go. But like, to go after Krause and not appreciate, there has never been a general manager who has given you 6 championships in 8 years in the last 50 years. We're talking about the Celtics of the Bill Russell era. Krause needs some credit, and I don't know to what extent, because I wasn't, like I said, I was not heavily invested. But, some of the moves that he was able to make to keep that team together. And listen, I agree. As a Bulls fan, I'd be pissed that we didn't get a chance to go for a 4th title. And the fact that they said they basically said Phil's going to do 1 more year, and then he's gone is the weirdest thing ever. And I get it. But Jerry Krause deserved more respect than he got in this whole documentary, and I don't like that these top 1% people are making fun of somebody who is wildly successful. Being the general manager for the Bulls is wildly successful, and I thought it was just like it came off as like pick on someone your own size type thing, and that just frustrated me a little bit. That's the only thing that did piss me off and made me think twice about Jordan and Pippen.
Yeah, I think like the biggest thing that you can say Jerry Krause did wrong in this part of his career, was to come out before the 98 season and say, this is it.
Yeah.
And I think that is that is something that, look, they have to stress that part in the doc because that's the whole reason why this is happening.
Doc is called Last Dance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, from what the other things you were saying, like, he built, I mean, it's arguably the greatest dynasty of all time in any sport.
And that's all I want to, stress to. Like, I get it. And, like, he still brought in the head coach. He still brought in, they drafted Jordan. I think he deserved more credit than he got. I also thought it was in bad taste. You pretty much – I'm not saying they waited till he died for it to happen, but, the guy's not even around to defend himself. Like, so it would be different if he could have, like, that back and forth where they're handing the iPads to each other and they're able to, like, talk kind of, one of those things. But the fact that he can't even say anything about it and he can't defend himself at all, I don't know. It was a tough look because Reisendorf, whatever the owner is, Reisdorf or whatever, Reinsdorf, like, they didn't go after him at all. And, like, technically he's above Krause. So – but I felt like they didn't go after Reinsdorf because he's alive and can defend himself,
Yeah, and then at the end they cut to, Reinsdorf saying, "Oh, well, I told Phil, whatever, I don't care what Krause said, you can come back for another year."
Why didn't you say that at the beginning, dude?
Because and I think it was hard for me to understand why they had to put that part in. Like, were they trying to take the blame off of Krause and put it onto Phil? Or were they like?
But if your job told you up until the last day of your work, hey, this is it for you, like, you're gonna and then they're like, oh, just kidding, you did a good job, you can come back. You're not gonna want to go back. And they also said, I think, a 1-year deal. And like, Phil was obviously, he had won 6 championships in 8 years. He was obviously worth more than a 1-year deal. It just sucks because Jordan had won or coming second in the MVP that year to Malone. This wasn't Jordan fading out. Like, Jordan abruptly went out on top. It's the greatest athlete to ever go out on top. He was still at his peak. It's Barry Sanders level stuff. And, who's to say they couldn't have won another 3 or 4? But, it's kind of poetic. Who knows how ugly that breakup would have been, because Pippen would have needed to get paid. Rodman would have been – I don't know what Rodman would have been doing. The fact that Rodman's alive is a testament to medical science.
Yeah.
He's also our foreign relations person.
I mean, MJ even said, like, Rodman would probably have come back on a 1-year deal. Jordan would have came back on a 1-year deal. Yeah. Kerr would have came back. Said the hardest one would have been Pippen.
How much of that is, I'll relate this in a second. Like, how much, like the UConn Huskies team, which is my team, talked about how when this year got canceled, like, everyone's coming back or not everyone's coming back. We had a chance to win it. Like, I think
you should say the women's team.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, the men obviously didn't have a chance to win, but in their heads, they thought they had a chance to win. So I think Jordan now, because it couldn't have happened and you can't prove him otherwise, he's just going to be like, oh yeah, Rodman would have probably accepted less. And, I would have definitely accepted less. Like, it's really easy to say when it doesn't work out, but like, we don't know what would have happened.
Yeah, but I just feel like Jordan had that power. Like he would have made sure they got them all back.
Yeah. Hey,
You know, I mean, he's
one
the
of the great,
Godfather. They fucking called him Black Jesus in this episode. Like, I mean, he could have got whatever he
tough for the
wanted out of
actual
people.
Jesus. Tough for the actual Jesus. No, I get it. I just I think the history is written by the victors here, and that's a quote, I think, and they can kind of control the narrative right now and make it however they want, and that's not unfortunate, but it's just interesting. It's like the person how in 50 years we're going to talk about how we were the greatest of all time, and it's like, okay, no, you aren't.
Yeah, I mean the bottom line on The Last Dance is if you didn't watch it, dedicate 10 hours of your life and watch it, because and I think even if you're not that big of a sports fan,
Agreed.
I think you would like it, because I think you would be surprised as to how much Jordan and that Bulls dynasty really impacted like the culture.
Yeah, good call.
And what you see now.
Jordan's not just a basketball player too. He's such like an icon, and like you have the Jordan thing where he's an icon. You have you have a lot of like celebrities in there that are not just basketball players. Tony Kukoc is only a basketball player, but like you have some people that are bigger than the sport that people know who they are and would be. I think they'd be interested in what had happened. So great documentary. Thank you for filling some Corona time. ESPN. Like the fact that we had that for 5 Sundays in a row was fantastic.
Yeah, they did a great job. I mean, hats off to that team.
Yeah.
And hats off to the Bulls. They've sucked ever since. So, well, I mean, they had a few good years with D Rose and Joakim Noah, and
maybe it's the curse of Jerry Krause, D Rose tearing his ACL.
Maybe. I thought it was kind of like the last thing I would say is it's kind of like the last slap in the face. Like it ends with like the breakdown of what happened to like Rodman and Pippen, and it was like all related to like stuff Jerry Krause would have had to do.
Yeah,
and I'm like, okay, just you got to go out swinging at the little guy,
the little dead guy. Sure, take your last hits at the little dead guy. So
I mean, it's like he just did his job.
Like
at the end of the day,
you'd rather get rid of those guys 1 year before it's too late than the year after. 1 year earlier than 1 year too late. So I get it. It sucks. It's always a what could have been. Like once they won the championship, I wish they could have all come back. But like even look at the Yankees. The Yankees and Girardi gets fired after he brings the team within 1 game of the World Series. So and that's worked out pretty well for the Yanks. I know they haven't got one yet, but like you want to get rid of them 1 year too early than 1 year too late. And I don't know. I get Krause was nerdy and he's an easy, thing, but like, come on, Pippen and Jordan, you're better than that. Like, you're not going to want to make fun of me, and I'm not. And
I wonder how that whole season would have went if social media was around.
The Rodman story, they would have had TMZ. Oh my! The
Rodman. But I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about like the Krause stuff. Like, I don't think.
Oh yeah.
I personally, and this is something obviously we'll never be able to prove. I don't think Krause makes that statement if social media exists.
Don't think you can get away with it.
Right, and that's why I don't think he makes it.
You're going to get a question about that 30 times a day. So, you're probably right. I don't know. Ryan Stork should have stepped up, but he didn't.
It would have been rough. It would have been rough for sure. So we have a few mailbag questions here.
I forgot about this.
That's fun. That's fun. You want to do the easy one first or the hard one first?
Let's go with the low-hanging Jerry Krause fruit first. Let's go with the easy guy.
All right. I'm going to audible and do the hard one first because.
Oh, perfect. No, that's what I
said. So this one is from Chris Perkowski, who was on episode 10. If you haven't listened to episode 10, you should go back and listen because Chris is one of the smartest sport fans I know, especially with baseball. He has a really good job of breaking down the MLB's proposal to the Players Association. So he sent me this question today. I don't know if he's actually expecting an answer.
It's a mailbag question.
So the question is, what is the meaning of life?
Oh, perfect. That's the easy one, right?
Yeah, this is the easy one.
Well, it's a good question. And I think the world would like to know
Fantastic
your
question.
thoughts first.
Really? I don't know. I feel like I talked a lot. I feel like should we phone a guest and answer this question?
Do you have Black Jesus on your style?
I think
Guys, be happy. Be a happy person. Be a good person. You know that
yeah.
song, Humble and Kind? Listen to it. Lays everything out from start to finish.
Yeah, I
Boom.
think the meaning of life is whatever you want it to be.
That's pretty deep.
Look, whatever makes you happy, just do it. And
Unless that's killing people, and then don't do it.
Then don't do it. Don't do it.
Don't. And you know who you are. You're listening right now. Don't kill that person, no matter what Scott says.
Oh, did you see that meme I sent you today? Speaking of killing people.
Oh, the murder hornets. Who do we call?
Yeah. So my aunt put this picture on Facebook from. I think she shared it from Mommy Needs Vodka.
Perfect.
So that's fun. She said, it says, so these murder hornets, do you send them a list of names or what? Like, how's that work? And I was like, wow.
I know.
And then, so I saw that, and then I saw Perkowski's question. I was like, well, that's weird.
Have fun. Live your life. Don't be an asshole. That's the 3-step rule.
Live your life, have fun, play sports, make friends, and repeat. So the next one is from Chris Vogel, who's also been on the podcast before, another friend of the pod. He was on episode 9. Yeah, episode 9. If you haven't listened to that one, go back, listen to that. We talk a lot about our mutual love for Duke. He talks about why he's a Saints fan. Talk a little bit about the Knicks and how they're a joke. All good stuff. So he wants to know, Cass, what sport do you wish you played or played more of as a kid?
Good question. I never played football as a kid. Like, it was just not ever in the cards. I was never interested really in playing football. I started playing a lot after. It's one of those sports that, like, I never understood the camaraderie between it. Like, the people, like, in my high school that would, like, be on the football team, like, they were all, like, best friends and stuff. And that's, it's one of those, they say it teaches a lot of characters, a lot of self-discipline. And I'm clearly lacking at least one of those. You can figure out which one or whatever. So, I mean, I wish I'd played football. I'm not, like, broken up about it because I think, like, I've watched a lot of my friends get hurt playing football. Yeah. So, but, yeah, no, I definitely would have to go with football. What about you?
I don't know, honestly. I mean, I played so many growing up. I mean, not so many. I played, like, 4 main sports growing up.
Fair. Did you play hockey?
No, I think hockey's actually the one I'm gonna say right now. I played like hockey with my friends. Like in the elementary school, like playground and like driveways and like on my friends' streets and whatever. I remember myself being like pretty good, but never like I was never like good enough to like really play.
Again, who's gonna verify it or not verify it? You
definitely couldn't ice skate. No, I'm sure I'll have some people listen to this episode and text me about my skills or lack thereof.
You forgot.
I was good amongst my group of friends, but then when we went to like middle school and high school and we made more friends, and some of those friends like played hockey like all the time. So then they would play with us, and then like my rank of my friends would drop significantly.
Down.
Yeah. I think hockey though. I mean, which is funny because everyone like in my friend group was like makes fun of me for not knowing anything about hockey. So,
fair.
Yeah, I think I would go there.
Which is funny because in our friend group, like in our circle, you know the most about hockey. So out of the really 5 of us, you know the most about hockey, and out of your friend group from home, you know the least about hockey.
Yeah, I mean, I'm much more like diversified than I get credit for, I think. But
yeah, Gibbs got some credit, friends at home.
Give me some credit. But other than that, I would say like football. I definitely thought of immediately. Yeah. I ran track one year in middle school, and I had Yeah, like because I didn't make it was 8th grade. I didn't make 8th grade baseball, which is
Sorry about that. You want to talk about that?
not really. Um, but I had a lot of fun running track actually.
Perfect.
And
Fun is huge.
I think it could have been something I stayed with, like because I never made high school baseball, so I could have easily ran track in the spring.
Yeah.
But instead, I didn't and just played basketball after school,
Fair.
which is my second best sport, probably, maybe my third at this point.
What's first?
Bowling, for sure.
Oh, fuck, I forget.
Yeah, I mean, it's without a doubt my best.
Not like laughing at you, just forget all the time.
Yeah, my second best is probably like softball and then basketball.
We're getting old.
Yeah. Yeah,
Softball.
for sure. But yeah, I mean, I like that. I like both of these questions. Obviously, Perkowski's is
Little tougher.
This is the one episode you were on that we didn't drink during. I think if we had a few, if we had a few in us,
this took on a different meaning. Like, are we talking about the end of the bench in life? Like, what are we doing here?
If we had a few in us, we would have given him a better answer.
Oh, for sure. I could have spouted out the real thing.
But maybe now he won't be satisfied and he'll send us more.
Yeah, no, we're gonna definitely. So send in your mailbags. Scott Cast 24 36 48.
That's not
it. Those are the numbers in that order. So if you need to text Scott, send him a text. 875 Cars for Kids. That's Cars for Kids.
So, all right, man. Well, this is some ending right here. So
better than the meaning of life ending.
Oh man, I appreciate you coming on. I have some housekeeping stuff that I probably should have done before we started, but I was too busy like thinking of all the segues I wanted to hit.
And you're a seg master at this point, so.
So yeah, we're recording. It's May 18th. This marks our first full month of the End of the Bench show. We had what I classify as a very good month to start. We definitely surpassed the number of views and listens that I thought we were gonna get this month, given our size, and all we really do is Instagram and a little bit of Twitter to advertise. We appreciate every monthly supporter that's been with us early. And to thank you, we do have the End of the Bench show shirts on deck. Just finished placing the order today with mine and Cassidy's good friend Tyler Diamore and his company Diamore Designs. He's going to make the prints, put them on the shirt, and every monthly supporter will get one of these t-shirts. Just as soon as you click the link to support, send me a DM on Instagram, at the _end of the bench with your size and probably your address, unless I know where you live already, and we'll get it out to you. Just a little added thing to show you guys our appreciation.
Appreciate you.
Cass, you will be getting one also, which is why I asked you your shirt size today, and you didn't even blink.
Yeah, no, people just ask me questions. I'm pretty sure if somebody asked for my social security number, I would give it and be like, oh yeah, why'd you need that? Yeah. I have very, I'll just give out any information at this point. You want to take it? Take it.
Yes. But
cool.
Anyway, End of the Bench show shirts coming to monthly supporters. Half your donations go to No Kid Hungry. We're gonna contribute to 5,000 meals before the year is over. That's my goal. We're gonna hit it regardless. I have zero doubt in my mind that we'll get there. If you want a shirt, gotta be a supporter. Otherwise, subscribe, rate, review, follow us on Instagram at _endthebench, Twitter at @EOTB. Support link is in the podcast descriptions. We will be back. I think we'll have one more this week. But if not, see you next week. Cass, thank you very much for coming on. I appreciate you coming on short notice.
No problem. Sorry I was late. And if you are out there and you're listening to this, tell a friend. Just text a friend and be like, hey, got a pod going. Just, I know Scott's not going to be shamelessly recruiting people, but I will. So tell a friend, do it. What else are you doing? There's a quarantine. Stay inside, listen to some pods. Let's just do it together, guys. 2020.
Yep.
All right? All love.
Thanks, buddy. See you later.
Bye. Bye.